Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank the chairman and the ranking member for holding this hearing today, and I'd like to thank our witnesses for testifying. I think it's essential that we hear from our VSOs when considering legislation to help our nation's veterans, so thank you all for being here. I'd also like to thank Congressman Muser for introducing the Advancing Uniform Transportation Opportunities for Veterans Act with me. Our bill will expand the VA's automobile grant program to allow eligible veterans to receive $20,000 or more in assistance every 10 years to replace their vehicles, which are often outdated with adaptive equipment. We believe this is a worthy program that assists veterans every year who have sacrificed so much for our country. These vehicles are adaptive equipment and are essential for these veterans to go to work, attend school, visit family, and maintain a life of mobility. Expanding this grant program to allow these veterans to replace their vehicle after a tenured period, to me, is just common sense. So just a few brief questions. Mr. Brown, perhaps, can you speak more to the importance of this grant program and special adaptive equipment grants in helping veterans with disabilities?
Sure. I think one of the most important things that we need to consider in regards to this legislation is that we have younger veterans who are injured. They've suffered a catastrophic injury, and they're confined to a wheelchair. They have transportation needs, and it's going to be a lifetime. This is a lifetime event for them, and because they are younger, that means that they're going to have to replace that vehicle multiple times. The gentleman that I spoke of in my oral statement, that was his third vehicle since his injury, and as conditions change, as to the adaptive technology changes, and the vehicle, you can't continue to take older technology and apply it to a newer vehicle. At some point, you have to upgrade everything, and that's a tremendous cost that's coming out of the pocket for these individuals for a service-connected disability. And I just believe that as a nation, we shouldn't be putting veterans into a position of financial hardship for a service-connected disability that we really should be taking care of them for.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Kamen, could you tell us what these grant programs can mean to a veteran with disabilities getting to work or attending school?
Well, we think when you look at schools right now, we've come a long way when it comes to disability support services and being able to be 508 compliant and making sure facilities are met to meet the needs of traditional students with disabilities. There is an enormous chasm between what a traditional student's disabilities are and what a veteran's are. And oftentimes veterans come into schools with the full belief that this is a problem that I have. It's with the VA. The school has nothing to do with it. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done to bridge that so that they can feel just as empowered as your traditional students coming in with disabilities. But at the very least, not having them have to take public transportation to go to their hospital for rehabilitative services. When I was at American University, a close friend of mine was in that case, where he would walk to the bus that would take him to Walter Reed from American University. So we know that even though that this is the minority of the overall disability population, that it matters to an outsized effect for student veterans.
Well, thank you. And thank you all for being here again, and I yield back my time.